Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing the McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat Liu Kang action figure. Is this action figure a paragon of resounding perfection, or should be relegated to the dumpster, or is it characterized by insipid, unalloyed mediocrity in the form of a quantitative score? I'd have to rate this action figure to be a 6 out of 10. Why? It's meritorious. It's stupendous. Is it the quintessential Liu Kang action figure? I believe so. He stands roughly 7 inches tall, so he coincides eminently well with a prodigious 6 to 7 inch action figure collection. And of course, as you are unequivocally aware, he emulates his Mortal Kombat 11 counterpart. He is a plastic embodiment of his Mortal Kombat 11 counterpart. What outfit is he donning? Well, apparently he is utilizing the art of Wushu skin. So that's his deco. Is it aesthetically appealing to take a gander at? Yes. I have to utilize an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure as a benchmark for comparison of value. Unfortunately, much to my dismay, much to my chagrin, much to my consternation, much to my grief, much to my agony, much to my distress, he commands a steep, staggering, hefty, lofty, exorbitant premium price that is 250% greater than the retail price of an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure. So at the $20 plus sales tax price point, we should receive at least 250% more value than an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure provided to the customer. But in stark contrast to an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure, this Mortal Kombat Liu Kang action figure is devoid of a Build-A-Figure piece for a colossal, robust behemoth of a 14 to 16 inch Build-A-Figure. Furthermore, unlike an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure, this action figure is devoid of a comic book. Additionally, much to my dismay, this action figure has scant accessories. He comes with a set of interchangeable hands, in addition with a stand. But for the $20 plus sales tax price point, he should come bundled with additional figures, in tandem with Build-A-Figure pieces, as well as a myriad of accessories. He should have interchangeable heads, a copious amount of interchangeable hands, as well as a slew of armaments. He should also come bundled with video games as well. They're going to charge 250% more than the retail price of an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure for a similar figure. We should receive at least 250% more value than an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure. But in this case, in this context, we receive an action figure that has only 22 points of articulation, so he doesn't have as much latitude for dynamic posability relative to an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure that was sporting 32 to 40 points of articulation. But he does have decent articulation, to say the least. He has high quality paint applications, high quality shadings. He is meticulously detailed. He has high quality textures. It would have been nice if his nunchuck was comprised of a metal chain, but that doesn't appear to be the case. I recollect a Liu Kang action figure churned out by Jazzware Toys that was only 1 inch shorter, roughly 6 inches tall, selling for around $8 plus sales tax amid the 2000s. Fast forward over a decade later, we get a figure akin to the Jazzware's Mortal Kombat Liu Kang action figure that sells for 250% more than the retail price of an $8 Toby's Marvel Legends action figure, and is roughly 1 inch taller than the Jazzware's Liu Kang Mortal Kombat action figure that presumably sold around the $8 plus sales tax price point when it was initially launched in retail stores amid the 2000s. So Has dismay ensued? Well, I'd be content with procuring this figure if the price precipitously plunged, but that's unlikely to transpire in the pending future. The supply of this figure is finite, and the demand is unmet, to say the least. Demand exceeds supply in this context, so if anything, the price is more than likely preordained to amplify, but I do not know what will transpire in the future. The future is enigmatic and obscure beyond a veil of time, but I would be under the axiom that this figure will appreciate in value, but I'm uncertain. So if you have disposable income, if you can afford to procure him, then by all means do so. The only reason I'm rating him a 6 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 is because there's not enough value furnished to the customer to vindicate the $20 plus sales tax price point at a 10 out of 10 rating, especially when I utilize an 8-hour Topaz Mobile Legends action figure as a benchmark for comparison of value. Has this figure come bundled with additional figures as well as build-a-figure pieces. And an exorbitant amount of armaments, as well as at least one Mortal Kombat video game, then I more than likely would have been inclined to raise this figure 9 or 10, but unfortunately that's not the case in this context. This figure should also have more points of articulation. Finger joint articulation is always desirable, to say the least. Unfortunately, he doesn't come bundled with fisted hands. He does have weapon-wielding hands that are semi-opened or partially opened, as well as alternative hands so that he can perform karate chops, but I do not know why they omitted fisted hands from the package. It should have been bundled in with this figure. That way he could pummel his adversaries to bloody pulp, and I'm uncertain as to why he only has one nunchuck. Maybe he utilizes one nunchuck in the video game, but he should come bundled with a myriad of armaments, especially for the $20 plus sales tax price point. So I hope that you deemed this video to be intriguing and enthralling. I hope that you were bedazzled and regaled. Have a blissful night. Do I recommend buying this figure? If you're an avowed Mortal Kombat fan, then you should take heed of buying this figure. However, if you're destitute, indigent, and insurmountably indebted, then you may want to abstain from buying this figure and make an earnest, gallant attempt to discharge your debts. But unfortunately for the average action figure collector, the price of $20 plus sales tax for a single 7-inch action figure is cost prohibitive. It is eminently expensive, to say the least. But it is a decent figure nonetheless. I would deem this figure to be a high quality figure and not shoddy, but more value should have been consolidated into the packaging and could have manifested itself in the form of additional figures, additional armaments, build-a-figure pieces, as well as Mortal Kombat video games. Once again, I hope that you deemed this video to be engrossing. Have a wonderful night. Goodbye.